So if you're wearing these types of underwear, you definitely want to watch this video because these are bad for your big Al. If you've ever or currently used lotion when doing your thing, you also need to watch this video before it's too late. Gentlemen, bottom line is this: your penis is not a toy. It is a high-performance, blood flow dependent, nerve-dense machine. And if you abuse it, it will fail. Today, guys, I'm going to go over some things that you should never, ever do to your big Al, or else, unfortunately, you could potentially damage him and he might not be able to do what you need him to do in the way that you need him to do it. So number one is actually using lotion, body lotion, on your junk. Now, whether or not you're using it to pleasure yourself or you're just like hydrating your skin, it's actually potentially really bad. And the reason is this, all right? So number one is a lot of the moisturizers that you're finding and using for your body contain a lot of unhealthy chemicals, not to mention oils. And the oil is really bad for condoms. It can actually increase the risk of them breaking because the latex and the petroleum-based like oil that is in the moisturizer, even if you like just use moisturizer like earlier in the day and you put a condom on later in the day, it can increase the likelihood of that condom snapping and breaking when you're actually doing your thing. All right. The other issue is that the moisturizer contains a lot of harmful chemicals, not to mention some alcohols that can actually damage and dry out the skin, produce microtears. It's really not good for dudes to use lotion on their junk. If you are going to be pleasuring oneself, I would definitely recommend looking for something like this. All right. First off, if you've never tried using this as like a personal lubricant, your life is about to be changed because this is like not super great. I know because I was a young dude once, but then once I found a water-based lubricant like this, I'm telling you, everything changes. It also is not going to basically mess up your wiener skin or decrease the effectiveness of condoms. Which brings me to number two: never not wrap your rascal when you first meet somebody or you don't know whether or not they are disease-free, or yourself for that matter. All right, it's about protection. And the truth is, they don't do a good job in terms of like the movies showing guys using them. And so, you know, a lot of guys don't think about it, or the woman will be like, no, I'm good, I'm on the pill, right? It doesn't matter. Don't believe the hype. You know, and unfortunately, STDs are one of those things where even though things might like look okay, it might not actually be okay. Even though it's not burning when you pee, or you're not having any type of funky discharge, or you look at her and she looks aight, doesn't mean it's aight. But Alpha, it doesn't feel as good. Well, you know what else doesn't feel good? Chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes. Number three is tight underwear or even your pants. If you are packed in there and you are not allowing that wiener to have room to breathe, you are not going to have the blood flow that it needs in order to be healthy. Blood flow basically increases circulation. The circulation is carrying oxygen. It's doing all sorts of good things to your wiener. Also, it's going to make sure that you can have a good, strong, solid erection. If not, if you're reducing blood flow, reducing circulation, your erections aren't going to be as solid and hard as they could be. Number four is watching too much of the movies, aka porn. All right, so here's the deal. There's been so much research and data that's coming out showing that there's a rise in young men struggling with ED because of the overconsumption and overstimulation of watching too much. It's this escalation effect that happens. When you first start watching, it's like pretty innocent, right? You're like, ooh, boobs. And then it's like one-on-one. And then it's like something else. And then it's a MILF. And then it's the mailman with the MILF and the dog. And all of a sudden, you're watching some weird ass shit. Arousal. It's all about the arousal that happens, right? And then what happens is you get with somebody in like real life, and then it's like, this doesn't get me excited like it used to, all right? But the other issue is that sometimes guys just have ED. Actually, it's very common, and it's something that you shouldn't run from. The next thing that you shouldn't do to your big Al is neglect him, all right? You gotta use him. If it's not working, don't ignore it. Guys, ED is something that a lot of us are going to have to deal with at some point in our life. The worst thing you can do is nothing, because you deserve to have a happy, healthy sex life, and so does your partner, all right? Which is why I want to tell you today about something that I absolutely love. It is called Rougiette Ready. Rougiette Ready is a 3-in-1 ED treatment that works in as little as 15 minutes and stays active in your system up to 36 hours. The reason why you're gonna love Rougiette Ready so much is that it has both of the active ingredients of the two most popular ED medications, but it also has something called apomorphine, which helps prime the brain for arousal. When you think about it, right, arousal starts in the brain. All right, it's kind of like a chain reaction. Your brain gets aroused and then it sends signals to basically stimulate and increase blood flow. If anything in that like chain reaction is stifled or interrupted, then things don't work as well as they could. And that's why Rougette is so amazing. It's got both the active ingredients that work on blood flow, but it also has the apomorphine, which helps facilitate arousal in the brain. And getting started, guys, is super simple. If you hit the link down below, you're gonna fill out a medical questionnaire. A licensed doctor is gonna review it within 24 to 48 hours, and then if prescribed, Rougette Ready is gonna get shipped directly to your door in discreet packaging. And the other beautiful thing is that you get unlimited follow-ups with your doctor for free to really dial in what works best for you. Guys, hit the link down below. Go to rougette.com/alpha-m for 15% off your order. That's RUGIET.com/alpha-m for 15% off your Rougette Ready. Guys, hit the link, get started today, and take back control. The next thing you should never do to Big Al is stop ignoring early problems, all right? I'm talking about burning, lumps, pain, or curvature. All right, Peyronie's disease. It's basically like a curvature of your wiener. Well, the more and the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to actually treat, and the damage could potentially be permanent. If you notice anything going on with either Big Al or the boys, you've got to go into the doctor, which is why I highly recommend every single one of you, at least once a week in the hot shower, feel the junk, right? Feel the boys, right? Roll them around in your finger, all right? Get comfortable getting comfortable with them, because if you identify that there's a bump or a lump or something's weird with them or there's pain, you can go in quickly. A lot of times when you ignore it or you just don't know it's there, this is when long-term problems arise and it becomes a lot more challenging to actually treat. Next up, stop smoking or vaping, all right? So there's been a study that shows that people that smoke or vape actually have 2 times the likelihood of developing ED. And the reason is because smoking actually destroys nitric oxide production. It also, the nicotine, is going to basically constrict the blood vessels, all right? Remember, in terms of getting him to be as healthy as possible, you want to make sure there's as much blood flowing on the regular basis as possible. But if you're smoking, gentlemen, if you're vaping, you've got to stop it. Something else is using any type of like weird device on your wiener. Now, I have talked about the Bathmate a bunch. I feel like that is the safest alternative if you are somebody that is wanting to increase size or thickness. I've got experience with that, but there are a lot of other things out there, right? There are a lot of other like potions and lotions and weird stuff that can potentially damage you, right? Some of the traction devices, the extenders, they do like long-term damage. All right, I personally would recommend being as healthy as possible, losing body fat, that's something else. Which brings me to the next thing you need to do. Stop living a sedentary lifestyle, all right? There's been a bunch of research out there that shows that guys that are obese have low testosterone, low circulation, low libido, and a lot of times a difficult time getting Big Al to do what Big Al needs to do. Exercise improves erectile function by 40 to 50%. You want stronger erections? Work out. Lose 10 pounds, lift heavy shit, break a sweat. Those 3 things, gentlemen, you're gonna be amazed at how much better he gets. Next thing that you need to stop doing to Big Al for him to be awesomer is stop drinking so much. The occasional drink, fine. But a bunch of research has come out to show that dudes that drink like often have a much higher degree of sexual dysfunction. I'm talking like 50 to 60%. And last, but certainly not least, being too rough with Big Al. Whether or not it's by yourself, like death grip like action, or rough like action when you're having action with somebody and it's not properly like lubricated, all right? The deal is it creates microtears, right? And these microtears can actually increase the risk of developing Peyronie disease, but not to mention some other issues. Break your dick. You can literally break your dick, right? It's going to basically, those little like blood-filled like chambers can like snap, and you can seriously damage yourself from like doing a thrust that's a little bit too aggressive, all right, trying to bend that bad boy, or she comes out or you slip out and whatever, she lands on it. I'm telling you, you got to be careful, all right? Don't go crazy. Remember, gentlemen, your wiener is not a toy. It is a machine. A highly sensitive, blood flow maxing, nerve dense machine.